Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is a little bit of a different video than I would normally do. I am about to go to New Orleans. By the time this video goes up, I will be in New Orleans. But I'm going there for 5 days to celebrate my 6-year anniversary with my fiance. I'm very, very excited about that. So I wanted to do a little pre-filming. And it's a little early in the month, so I don't really have any book reviews to do yet. I wanted to get this as prepared as possible. But I do have my new bookshelves up, and as I was putting my new bookshelves together, I finally had room to do a full display of some of my beautiful leather-bound editions. These are not necessarily rare books. Some are very, very readily available. Some were at one point and are discontinued now. Some are limited edition, and some are very old. But I thought it'd be really fun to talk about my leather-bound books because they will be in the back of my video for the vast majority of the future to come. And I think they're fun and stunning, and who doesn't love a good, beautiful leather-bound book? So without further ado, this is just a fun little video on some of my favorite books, not only to have sought out in leather-bound, but that people have gifted me, or from companies that I think make just absolutely stunning editions, and I wanted to display them and to share them with you. So first up, we're going to go through some books that are pretty readily available. Maybe not necessarily the editions that I have, but because they are from a mass market bookstore, they are pretty easy to get your hands on. And that is the Barnes & Noble Collector Classics, or whatever they're called, collectible editions. I think they're called the Barnes & Noble Collectible Editions. So the one in my hand here is the 2010 Charles Dickens collection that they did. This was gifted to me for my birthday, for my 23rd birthday, 22nd, years ago. But this is 5 novels by Charles Dickens. You get this absolutely stunning cover, this stunning back, these gold edges, and then the very back of the book on a building, it has the listed novels in here. So you have Oliver Twist, Tale of Two Cities, David Copperfield, A Christmas Carol, and Great Expectations. The only novel in here that I have actually read is A Christmas Carol. That's not the only Dickens I've read, but out of this collection it is. I did read Bleak House in college, and I've read part of Great Expectations. But yes, I did get this from some of my old roommates who did take a Charles Dickens class with me. So yeah, this must have been my 22nd birthday then. But yes, I am absolutely in love with this. It is so beautiful. It feels Dickensian, and always been thrilled to own it. Next up, I have spoken about acquiring this book on my channel before, and this is the Barnes & Noble edition of The Scarlet Letter. I purchased this maybe a year or two ago. This is a soft book cover, but it still feels and looks just as beautiful as some of their hardcovers. It does not have foiled edges, but it does have colored edges. And then it says on the back, "The Scarlet Letter was her passport into regions where other women dared not tread." And I just wanted a really pretty edition of The Scarlet Letter to go with my collection. I love the interior of it. But I love these Barnes & Noble editions. They are such great quality. This is the 2015 edition of the Barnes & Noble publishing for this. I know that this one is still currently available in their stores, though. All right, next up, this was also part of the gift that my old college roommates got me, and this is the Complete Cthulhu Mythos Tales by H.P. Lovecraft. And you get a beautiful Cthulhu right here. You get some tentacles back here, and on the back you get another gorgeous Cthulhu with some of their beautiful gold foiled edges. And then this is the interior. It's just so gorgeous. H.P. Lovecraft, I don't talk about too much on my channel because he is a very controversial figure. He wrote some very incorrect things. However, I do think the Cthulhu mythos is amazing, and I have always loved the monster that H.P. Lovecraft created. It's much cooler than the monster that H.P. Lovecraft was in his views around certain people. Now, this is the 2015 Barnes & Noble edition. The compilation was originally put together in 2013, though. I do not believe that this version is still available. I think they have an updated version now, but I do absolutely love and adore this one. I think it is just so stunning, and I love having it on display, and that cover is just, oh, it's phenomenal. Next up is The Complete Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. Now this one is interesting because it is not entirely in the foiled edging. This is a newer version of their classics. It's not quite as detailed as some of their others, and I did purchase this on my own, and it does say Quoth the Raven, nevermore. I am trying to get through every single Edgar Allan Poe short story and poem. I have read his one novel, but I haven't read all of his work. I've read a large chunk of it, but I did pick this up because I wanted just a very beautiful and easy way to go through all of his works. And this is the 2015 edition. I do not think this is still available. I believe this has been updated since then. But this is our beautiful edition of Poe, and my only hesitation on it is this illustration. I really wish it had been in foil to match the rest of the editions that they have. Now this is the final book that was gifted to me by my roommates, and this is Dracula and Other Horror Classics by Bram Stoker. Also very much like the Cthulhu and Dickens, it is in this absolutely gorgeous cover. I think it is stunning with its foiling. I love the back with Dracula's castle looking out through the window and this little like macabre skull that we have at the back that also makes its appearance on the front as well. And of course the coffin on the spine. It's just absolutely lovely. The interior with the red damask, and to match the Edgar Allan Poe, we do have silver foiling. I'm fairly certain this edition is also no longer available, and this was the 2013 edition. Again, I got this book 8 years ago, I think, as a gift. So that is that. They do have Dracula still available. I'm not quite sure what the other stories are that are in here. The Jewel of the Seven Stars and The Lair of the White Worm, and then Dracula's Guest and other stories. So still all Dracula focused. I did recently reread Dracula, and it is just such a great novel. Like, I understand why it has stood the test of time as like the pinnacle vampire novel. I mean, it wasn't the first, but it's definitely the most famous. Okay, and finally in my Barnes & Noble collection, I have Penny Dreadfuls, Sensational Tales of Terror. We have this beautiful cover and spine with this candle, and then we have this kind of lion door knocker moment going on the back, again with our silver foiling. I adore this book. I have not read all of the stories in here. This was a gift given to me last Christmas. I know for a fact that this is no longer available, which is sad because it is beautiful. This was the 2016 edition. I do not know if they still have this in like another cover available, but I do know that you cannot get this book anymore. The inside of here we have stories by Washington Irving, Edgar Allan Poe, Wilkie Collins, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. They have the entirety of Frankenstein in here. Robert Louis Stevenson, several anonymous authors. We have Bram Stoker, among many others, and an introduction talking about the history of the Penny Dreadful. I love this. I think this is so cool and so beautiful and such like a fun classic idea to put together in a book like this. I love that Barnes & Noble does have a heavy amount of Gothic stories available in their hardbound copies. I know that they do have like Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights as well. They have Frankenstein. The Phantom of the Opera, I believe, is another one. So if you are interested in the Barnes & Noble classics, they are really nice. They are worth it. They're only like $25, I think. Like, they're very inexpensive, and they are beautiful and such pretty quality. All right, so next up, we have my Cemetery Dance collectible editions. These are limited to 500 copies. They are leather-bound editions of contemporary horror novels by authors that I'm sure most of us know and recognize on this channel. And this is Little Girls by Ronald Malfi. I have yet to read this, but it is on my list to do very soon. I am just obsessed with these books. I think they are so stunning. I love the inclusion of the Raven over here. I think Cemetery Dance, being like an indie publisher out of Maryland who has had titles such as Stephen King, is such a cool company, and I love being able to support them, especially when they're going to make really affordable limited edition books. These retail for $50 when they first are released. and then can go anywhere up to like $300 resale if you have to go back and repurchase them. I was able to get this through Dark Regions Press because it was sold out on Cemetery Dance, but Cemetery will normally release a limited number through Dark Regions, so if you can't get it off their direct website, you are able to get it through another website, which is, again, Dark Regions Press. They usually go on sale around the same day, but that is how I was able to get Little Girls. This, I believe, was their 2021 release. I'm not sure. I just ordered 2 more because I was able to get my hands on those. A book by Bentley Little and one by Paul Tremblay, and I'll talk about those when I finally get them. They've just recently shipped, and I'm so excited. But mine is number 75 out of 500, and it is hand-signed by Ronald Malfi, which is another thing that I love about these books. They also all match one another, though they are different colors. So they do end up being just an absolutely beautiful set. Here I have The Night Parade by Ronald Malfi. Now, there are currently 9 in existence. With me today, I only have 4, and I have 2 more being shipped to me, as I just mentioned. So I'm only missing 3. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get my hands on them. They're very hard to find, and the ones that I found are very expensive. But I am very happy with the ones that I do have, and this is The Night Parade by Ronald Malfi, and I was able to get this one directly off the Cemetery Dance website, and I got number 355 out of 500. Next up is The Red Church by Scott Nicholson. I have not read this one. This one and Little Girls are the only 2 that I have so far from Cemetery that I have not read. And I found this at the Strand bookstore for almost nothing. I couldn't believe how cheap I got this. I don't think Strand knew what it was. I don't think they realized what they had. But it is so beautiful, and I'm so happy to have it. I love the interior. And this is number 28 of 500. Just sitting in the Strand. Couldn't believe it. I freaked out. And again, as you can see, it does have the signature. And then last but not least, in my graveyard editions, I have A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I did have to get this one off eBay. A Head Full of Ghosts is one of my favorite horror novels, as you all know. And I just knew I had to have this beautiful edition. Definitely spent more than retail value on it, but I am very satisfied with what I got, and I think it is absolutely stunning and was totally worth it. But luckily, this is the only one that I've had to spend more than retail value on. And this one is number 202 of 500, and you have Paul Tremblay's signature right there. It's so stunning. So there you are. Those are my Cemetery Dance editions. If you have never heard of these before, I highly recommend checking them out. They release, I believe, about 1 a year. Sometimes they'll do 2. I'm pretty sure 2 years ago they did release one at the beginning and one at the end. They released Disappeared at Devil's Rock. I think that's the name of the book, right? That's Paul Tremblay's. By Paul Tremblay. Maybe it's Disappearance at Devil's Creek. No, Devil's Creek is the Todd Keith thing. I think it's Disappearance at Devil's Rock. I just ordered that. That was just released a couple weeks ago. So if you are interested in these, I believe that is still available. Definitely check those out because they're so cool and they're so worth it, and I just love them. So next up, I'm going to be going through my Easton Press collection. Some of these are very old editions. Some of these are very, very new and still available. And we'll talk through those as I go through them. All right, so first up, I have Crime and Punishment. Now, I've heard many mixed things about Easton Press. I know that it's not necessarily the most beautiful printing editions. I've really, really enjoyed them. I love the gold foiling. I love the leather-bound books. I've definitely heard rumors that maybe it's not like real gold and it's not real leather for the price point, but I've never felt like I've paid too much for an Easton Press book, so I'm usually really satisfied with what I get. And the ones that I have paid a lot of money for and tend to be signed by the authors, so that's always been really cool to me. But this is Easton Press. This is Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. This is a recent one. I believe it's still available. I did just purchase it. And it is a very beautiful illustrated edition. So I do have these just stunning illustrations throughout the novel. And Crime and Punishment is one of my favorite classic works, so I wanted to make sure that I had this. So when I saw that it was available on their website, I did purchase it. I think it was like $80. Might have been a little bit more, but nothing that I felt bad paying for to have a beautiful copy of one of my all-time favorite classics. Next up is As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. This is one of my favorite Southern Gothic stories ever. When I first read this book, I read the entire thing in one sitting. This is also an illustrated version, though it is done by a different illustrator. And I did have to get this one, I believe, off of eBay. Again, I don't think I spent too much money off of it. But William Faulkner, on Easton Press currently, they really only do releases of his work as full collections. And they look very different than this one. So I did end up getting an older edition of As I Lay Dying. This edition is so this edition was printed in 1992. Including like some of the color and black and white editions. And I adore this. So this book is from 1992. This book is older than I am, and it still looks and feels brand spanking new. So is Easton Press worth the money? With this kind of quality, I tend to think yes. Next up is my most recent purchase from Easton Press, and this is the Graveyard book by Neil Gaiman. It is illustrated by Dave McKean, and it is a signed edition, as it all says right here on the spine. The only thing I don't really like about Easton Press is that they don't have the name of the book on the cover. I kind of wish they did. It comes with its own, because I purchased it directly from the website and it is signed, it does come with its own certificate of authenticity, which I think is really, really cool. And right here, you will see Neil Gaiman's signature, which I think is awesome. They do not have Coraline currently available. I believe it was available at one point. I'm not sure if it was part of their signed editions or not, but I really wanted to get this because the Graveyard book is my second favorite book by Neil Gaiman. I absolutely love and adore it, so it was very important for me to get this. And again, this really wasn't that crazy expensive, being a leather-bound signed limited edition. I think it was like $120, I want to say, but I wouldn't really want to pay more than that for one of these, but I think $120 is an okay price point for what you get. So next is The House of the Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I actually found this at Wonderbook out in Maryland. I was stunned when I found it. I got this for very, very cheap. I think $30, and then I think it was on sale, so I think I got it for even less. I love that it has the NH, similar to how the William Faulkner had the WF, and this is also an older edition. It also has the gold foiling, and let's see how old this is. Oh, and it does have some illustrations as well. And this edition is from 1979. So again, this is, what, 40 years old, 44 years old, and it still feels like it is in great condition. It is not in perfect condition, but it still feels really, really well made and very, very sturdy. And for being as old as it is and looking as good as it does, I'm thoroughly happy with Easton Press on their sustainability, on their durability. Is that what I'm thinking for? Their ability to last for a long, long time. All right, next up, this is Turn of the Screw by Henry James. This is another one of my favorite Gothic novels. This one I did get off of eBay, I believe. And this one is also illustrated. Now, this is the only one that doesn't quite fit the format of the other ones that I have, but this one is from 1977, so that's probably why. And again, it still feels absolutely like in great condition. Like, this holds up better than some of like the books that I bought 3 years ago. So I know that people say things about Easton Press, but I really have no qualms with it, and I love the illustrations that are included. I think they're so cool. So there you go. Next up, this is another one that I did recently buy. I think I bought this about a year or two ago. This is Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I absolutely adore and love Fight Club. I think that it's a brilliant, brilliant book. This is, I believe, is still available on their website, and it also has its certificate of authenticity, as well as a really freaking awesome signature from Chuck Palahniuk, as more of my certificates are falling out. So I love this. I think this was absolutely worth this. Again, I think this was only $120. It might be a little bit more now with inflation and everything, but I'm fairly certain this is still available on their website, and I am so thrilled with this and just stoked to have it. Okay, and then my final Easton Press Collector's Edition is SlaughterhouseFive by Kurt Vonnegut. I adore this. I had to find this again off eBay. Like William Faulkner's As They Lay Dying, a lot of Kurt Vonnegut's stuff on Easton Press currently are only released in sets. And this is really the only one that I wanted in a beautiful edition because it's my favorite thing written by Kurt Vonnegut. I even have a SlaughterhouseFive tattoo. So this is another one. This one does also come with a certificate of authenticity, which is super awesome, which is very, very cool. And it says that this edition came out in 2001. So this is not signed as far as I can tell. I wish it was, but it is not. I will say that the quality on this one definitely feels a little less than some of the ones from the 70s, but it also just might be that this was a little more beat up when I got it as well. Again, it still feels really sturdy. It still looks really, really beautiful. Only time will tell if the newer editions hold up as well as the later ones. So if you're thinking about buying Easton Press, that is just something to think about, just so you guys know, but it doesn't necessarily bother me. And I only have two more things to talk about today because I know this has become kind of a long-winded video. But first up is my copy of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and this is from the Franklin Mystery Library. Now, long ago, Franklin Mystery Library, or just Franklin Library in general, was a direct competitor of Easton Press. It has since gone out of print, but they still created some absolutely beautiful, beautiful books. And I was not able to find Rebecca from Easton Press, so I decided to get another beautiful edition, and that is this one. This one is also illustrated, one of the many things that I love about this. And this edition is from 1988. For those of you who do not know, Rebecca is one of my all-time favorite Gothic stories. I read it about, 2 years ago, a year ago? I'm not 100% sure, but ever since then I just fell in love with it. I can't believe it took me so long to read. And I love this edition because it also has this boat, which is so pivotal to the storyline. And the boat appears over here, and then you have Manderley in the background, and I just think this is an absolutely stunning, stunning edition. The quality of this does not feel as nice as the older Easton Press ones, but I still absolutely love and adore it, and it still feels fairly new for being almost 40 years old at this point. Wow, that's crazy. So there you go. And then last but not least, I had to get a Stephen King library book. So back in, I want to say like the 80s and 90s, Stephen King started, like his publisher Viking started releasing these crazy editions as part of the Stephen King library. I'm really, really trying to get it, but it is either really expensive or the ones that I found have been really, really badly damaged. So I got Gerald's Game to start with to check out the quality of these. This was pretty inexpensive. I think I paid $40 for this, but I'm really happy with the quality of the book. All of the covers in this collection look like this, where they just kind of have a blank page with some filigree and then Stephen King's embossed signature. They're not actually signed, which is unfortunate. And then you have just the spine to tell you the name of the book, and then nothing on the back. They're just very plain edging, and then you have the white interior, or I guess like an off-white interior. And then you get these really nice illustrations. So one of the things that seem to be a constant factor of these beautiful leather-bound books are the illustrations. I absolutely love that they include that. And this copy is from 1992. So it must have come out right around the time that the original book came out as well. And then throughout the book, you do have little minor illustrations, the beginning of each like chapter or section, and I really, really love that. Gerald's Game is one of my favorite Stephen King books, so I was really happy to have like a really nice edition of this. It's a bummer that it's not signed. I do own one signed Stephen King book, and it's also signed by Joe Hill, and I am just so happy that I have it. But it is not one of my nicer collector's editions. It was a International Bookstore Day copy that I was able to snag about a year or two ago, so that was really, really fun. Anyways, that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed going through my collection of rare books. I know that I absolutely did. I'm always adding to it. I love the kind of antiquated feel of a leather-bound book. I love the style of that. And that is one of the reasons that I'm so excited about the new Unplugged and Twisted Retreat books. I'm beginning to store them up on my shelves as well. I'm really heavily debating taking the book covers off of them and then just displaying them as their hardback foiled editions because I think they are so stunning. But the commitment phobe in me is having issues doing that. But we will see if I eventually get to it. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I post every Monday and Thursday, sometimes on Saturdays. And if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And I will catch you all in the next one. Mwah.